Well, hello everyone. This is Mashter once again, and today we're going to be making some simple risers that we can use in our tracks to create tension and energy. So, I'm going to show you a couple of different techniques, and you can expand the techniques to make the sounds further more complex and the way you like it. So, at the end of the day, it's basically all about your taste of sounds. I'm just going to show you the simple techniques, how you can make simple risers, and how you can modulate them. So, let's get started. I already have a basic drum loop going on with the bass line and arpeggio that I created in the previous tutorial where I showed you how to create rolling bass and evolving arps. This is how it sounds like. First, I'm going to show you how you can create a simple white noise riser, which you hear in most of the tracks. I'm going to create a new MIDI track, load in a default operator. What we can do is, depending upon how long you want the riser, we can draw in a note in here. Command Shift M is the shortcut key. Get into the MIDI clips. So you can draw the 4 bar, 8 bar, 16 bar note depending upon how long you want the riser. Coming back to the synth itself, since we're making a white noise riser, I'm going to choose the waveform on my oscillator 1 as noise white. And this is how it sounds like. Pretty harsh and pretty loud as well. What you can do is we can use this filter to automate or create the movement in this white noise. On the filter, you choose either low pass or band pass. I'm going to show you both the techniques. I'm going to choose OSR, one of my favorite filters. I'm going to create the automation on the filter frequency over the length of the note from low to high. So let's just automate this. You will hear the sound as the filter opens up. And we have a basic rising sound. You can play around with a bit of resonance as well if you want the sound to be a bit more harsh. So what you can also do is you can even choose a band pass filter. And now see, the sound will be much more soothing and much little more pleasing to the ears. You can use the filter on the synth itself, or you can use auto filter and do the automation there as well. I'm going to use a little bit of reverb to put it in a space and EQ to roll off certain lower frequencies so that they don't interfere with my kick and the bass. Let's get to the audio effects. Get a slight reverb. Not too much. I can further EQ it using the EQ8. Now let's listen to it with a beat. can even change the filter from 24 dB to 12 dB. We'll have a lot more sound. Now you can create a little bit more variation using a sidechain compression using the compressor. So let's put on a compressor, set it on a sidechain it with a kick. And this is going to be a very typical riser that you hear in most of the tracks. It is very simple, but plays a crucial role in creating the tension and energy in your music. Let's listen to it with a beat. So this is our first riser. Now let's make another style of riser with a bit of movement in the sound itself. Let's load another MIDI track, load in a default operator, go to our instruments, operator, copy the note. I'm going to select white noise on oscillator 1. So I'm going to choose band pass and automate the filter. And I can choose analog style filter OSR and give it a bit of a filter drive as well and a bit more resonance as well. Like before, we hear a simple white noise riser. Let's create a movement in this sound by turning on the LFO. This is my LFO section. I'm going to turn it on. Right now my LFO is affecting all the oscillators A, B, and C and D. I'm going to turn that off and just have the LFO effect the filter. We can set it to sync mode. Let's hear it with a beat. We can play around with this amount and see how it affects the sound. Let's solo it. It's up to you. You can experiment with the different percentages of the amount, or you can set it to 100% depending upon your taste, how you like your music. And what you can also do is you can experiment with different waveforms here of the LFO. I personally really enjoy using sawdown, so I'm going to show that. Let's turn the amount down for the time being. And here it's solo. getting my reverb, EQ, and compressor from the previous track. This is our riser 2. Now, let's create another kind of riser where we create the tension and movement in the sound by modulating the pitch of the sound itself and maybe use the LFO as well. So let's create another MIDI track, load in another operator. And this time, instead of choosing white noise, let's choose our Saudi waveform because it's rich in harmonics, and we will be creating a riser which is not just white noise but has movement and some character to the sound itself. So I'm going to copy my MIDI note from the previous channel. As before, automate the filter as well. Or let's not automate the filter right now. What I'm going to show you, let's go to the master section, and here in my routings in the connection B, we have pitch which is set to plus 5 semitones. That is, when I create a pitch movement in my MIDI note, it will go up to 5 semitones. Let's just change it to 12 so that when I create a movement in the pitch, it goes one octave up or one octave down. Let's create the pitch movement. How we do this? Let's go to our clip section, and if you go to the envelopes here and choose the MIDI control, and the first thing that appears is the pitch bend. Now this pitch bend determines how much of the pitch movement we want. So let's draw our automation curve. Take it from here to right down here. In my operator, I have set the pitch to go up to one octave. So basically, from 0 to here is 1 octave, and 0 to here is minus 1 octave. Overall, we'll have 2 octave movement in the sound. Sound will go from 0 to up to 24, or maybe minus 12 to plus 12, however you want to understand it. Now let's just listen to the sound solo. So I'm gonna add my reverb, compressor, and EQ once again to give a sound little bit of proper space and fit with the rest of the track, and bring the level down if necessary. Now, as before, the compressor is going to duck the sound when the kick hits. Here with the beat. Let's create the movement by automating the filter once again. This time I'm going to keep the filter as low pass, maybe use once again the OSR style filter, automate it. Give it a bit of filter drive as well to further brighten up the sound. We hear the sound with the rising pitch. Let's take it a step further and create a further movement in the sound by using the LFO. Let's just turn on the LFO. First on the sync mode like we did before. Played at 16th. Let's hear it how it sounds. But as before, you can play with the amount as well. The reason the sound is changing its character because now I've got the LFO affecting the oscillator itself and not the filter. I can change that if I want. You can experiment with the different waveforms. Let's try it with sawdown first. This is the case when LFO is affecting the oscillator, the level of oscillator A. Let's get the LFO to affect the filter. Let's hear it how it sounds. Taking a step further, let's change the rate from sync to low and you'll hear difference in the sound. And take the amount to 100%. LFO is affecting the filter frequency 100% and see how it sounds like. So not so much of a riser, but kind of a rising sound that creates tension and energy, and the listener perceives that something is coming next, creates that kind of a vibe in the track. Also, what we can do is I can actually automate this, maybe going from low to high if I want. Let's change the LFO range, maybe say from here to here. We want the LFO to go on low, but when it reaches here, let's take it to high. Let's hear how it sounds like. Also, I've already got the filter drive here. You can play around with that, and you can even play around with the amount as well. Up to you. So these are the basic techniques. You can play around with the different LFO rates as well. You can play around with different LFO waveforms as well. You can play around with, there's a lot to play around with, so the possibilities are unlimited. This is what I wanted to show you. It was a quick video. I hope you enjoyed it and there was something for you to gain. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit that bell icon so that you can keep